Bigfoot sightings of New Jersey. Yes, I said New Jersey. I know it sounded funny to me as well, but since the 1950s, there have been 71 reported sightings in the state. And like most people, I never heard of them until I started going state by state looking for sightings and evidence of these creatures. I always thought that New Jersey was the home of the devil, the Jersey Devil, that is. I've heard stories of the Jersey Devil since I was a child, but never of a Bigfoot sighting. So, with that said, let's see what we can find out from New Jersey. This first report comes out of Bergen County from December 27, 2005. This is the follow-up investigating report from the BFRO website. Spoke with the witness that submitted the report over the phone on January 11, 2006. I also spoke with the witness's girlfriend over the phone on January 13, 2006. The following details can be added. The girlfriend was the first to see the animal cross the dirt road. She said the animal moved very fast across the road. She did not make out any facial details, but she remembers seeing the legs moving as it ran in a bipedal fashion. She also noticed that the hair was a sandy or tan color and was longer around the head and shoulders area. The witness that submitted the report did not believe his girlfriend at first. He originally thought she had seen a deer and decided to leave the vehicle to check the area where the animal was just seen. Upon approaching the area, he noticed a dark face peering out from the underbrush from a distance of 25 feet. The face looked black and had a very ape-like appearance. He did not trust his eyes to what he was seeing, so he shook his head to clear his vision. Upon opening his eyes, the animal rose up to a full stance and started to run on two legs deeper into the pine forest. He noted that the height of the animal was between 6.5 feet to 7 feet tall. The hair all over the body was a sandy tan color, but not as light as a deer, and longer around the head and shoulders. The animal was not huge, but had a very muscular build. The witness told me he is a weightlifter and the animal was much larger than him. The area in which the encounter took place is predominantly pine forest and mixed underbrush. There is an abundance of berry shrubs and the deer are plentiful. It would be very easy for a nocturnal and intelligent animal to stay hidden and survive in this part of New Jersey. With that being the end of the report, ever since I started researching New Jersey sightings, I just can't help thinking, why New Jersey? Why would a Bigfoot leave the mountains which they seem to follow and love? Then I thought about ranking leadership. Could it be these Bigfoots that are being seen in New Jersey and other places have been kicked out for some reason? Maybe they challenged the leader and lost or won. The ones that are being seen are the losers, not able to be in their territory anymore, so they wander down to the lowlands where they are spotted every now and then. Maybe. Or maybe the young males are just starting out on their own. Being of a curious nature, they are just exploring the world, searching for a female in which to start their own family, or pack, some would say. So what do you think? Drop me a comment down below and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button so you can keep up with our new videos. This next report also comes out of Bergen County from March the 18th, 2010. This is the sighting report that was filed. I was returning from one of my research areas in the Pine Barrens with a friend of mine. We had spent a few hours out in the forest on this cold and damp night, trying to elicit a response from a Sasquatch. We had zero activity, and due to the declining weather conditions, I decided to wrap it up for the night around 12:35 a.m. We packed up our gear and began the drive homeward. We had just crossed a main road entering back into civilization and were discussing music when something came charging out from the front right side of the road. I was traveling at around 50 miles an hour and got on my brakes hard. Luckily, I had anti-lock brakes and avoided skidding, and I barely missed hitting the creature. My friend was holding a bottle of water between her legs, and when I braked, she slid forward and the water sprayed all over her. She said, "What was that?" And I replied, "Deer." And she said, "No, it wasn't." I then realized that what I had just seen was not a deer, or a dog, bear, or human dressed in a costume. It had no muzzle, tail, or pointed ears, and the legs were thicker than mine. It ran hunched over and appeared to propel itself faster by pumping its arms. Just as it looked like it was about to be hit, it turned its upper body and looked at us with an expression of shock, as if it knew it had messed up. It never broke stride and continued running across the road and into the woods across the street. I slowed my vehicle and made a U-turn, returning to the spot. I got out of my car and tried to listen to hear anything moving through the brush. I didn't hear anything, and I couldn't smell anything either. I checked for tracks alongside the road, but did not see any. That's the end of the filed report. I would like to read you some of the follow-up investigating report. I'm not going to do the whole report, just part of it. The encounter happened just as he reported above. Other points of interest Eric and I can add is that there was a dead deer in the center of the road a short distance down from where the individual ran out from. Even hunched over, this individual was 2.5 to 3 feet above the hood of his car. The hair color was reddish blonde and roughly 3 to 4 inches in length, and was flowing with the speed it was moving. The hair did not appear to be matted down. No additional facial details, as the incident happened so fast. There are a couple reports from this area of an animal that matches his description. The friend who was his passenger that night saw the same thing as he did, and she too believes it was nothing other than a Sasquatch. The two of them have been out in the Pine Barrens together doing research for many years. This next sighting also comes out of Burlington County. This sighting happened on June the 20th, 2019. I'm going to be going over the BFRO follow-up investigation by Eric Spinner. I conducted a 45-minute phone interview with Mike, and he restated the events of June the 20th as he reported above. He was also able to provide me with some additional information regarding the events leading up to his encounter and also following it. We made plans to meet at the location in order to do a full recreation of the encounter and to learn more details. Fellow New Jersey BFRO investigators Art Monk and Heather Passetti joined me with the recreation on site, and Mike was waiting for us when we arrived. After introductions, I hopped into Mike's SUV and we began the recreation. I had my GoPro on the dashboard and my H2N digital recorder going, and maintained radio contact with Art and Heather. We did one pass with the vehicle and determined that Heather needed to be a bit closer to the side of the road on the return portion. So we proceeded to do a second pass. Initially, when Mike was driving down the road, he was looking to the right and caught a glimpse of what he thought was a groundhog, but then turned his head to look left just as the individual stood up. His immediate thought was, "That's one huge groundhog." Then as he kept driving, he began questioning what it was and battled with the decision to turn around or to keep going. He decided to use the next available spot to turn around, and after checking that no oncoming cars was approaching, he headed back to where he spotted it. He rounded the bend, and about 70 yards ahead of him was the juvenile Bigfoot standing on the side of the road facing him. When he got to about 35 yards away, he locked eyes with it and was able to see only dark brown eyes, no whites of the eyes, and that's when it turned and took off running in the direction of the swamp. He slowed his vehicle to almost a stop by where it was standing only moments before, and saw it go behind some bushes. He then turned his vehicle around again and pulled up to the parking area on the right and stopped. He waited a few minutes but could no longer see it, so he left. After we did the recreation, we took measurements of the individual's height and shoulder width and determined that it was closer to 4 foot tall and about 18 inches across the shoulders and chest. He described the arms as thin, the chest not overly developed, and the legs were stockier, more muscular. He also confirmed that the hair was more auburn in color and about 3 to 4 inches in length. He mentioned how we had severe storms move through the area that evening and how they were moving in an easterly direction as to hamper his commute from work. He was surprised to see that the fur appeared to be dry, but somewhat matted. I found Mike to be a credible witness, and he was very clear with his reporting of the event. He previously had not been into the Bigfoot phenomena and had not even seen an episode of Finding Bigfoot. He really thought he would hear that some kid in a Halloween costume went missing in the area, but after a few days without seeing any reports of one, he realized that he had seen a juvenile Bigfoot. A rare sight to see indeed, and meeting with us helped to validate his experience. The area where this occurred is a former cranberry bog, land that has now been preserved by the state for recreational use. It is rich in flora and fauna and has numerous lakes and streams. It is an area that I have conducted research in for over the past decade, and I recorded my first wood knocks and found my first juvenile track impressions nearby. We stayed after Mike left and conducted further research near the location. We used a Phantom 4 drone to conduct aerial surveillance of the area as well as a thermal imagery. We were able to elicit response from coyotes and barned owls, and also recorded some higher pitched screams that may have been a fox or maybe even a Sasquatch. Now that's the end of that report. This article comes from the Bergen County Times. It's by columnist J.D. Mullen and was posted May the 10th of 2018. Titled, When Bigfoot is Spotted in South Jersey, He's on the Case. Eric Spinner investigates Bigfoot sightings in New Jersey. The latest occurred on April 7th, and he said he deemed it credible. The report that Bigfoot was spotted in the woods of Manchester came on April the 7th, and the next day Eric Spinner, an investigator with the Bigfoot Field Research Organization, was on the case. We met with the witness and recreated the scene, said Spinner, a Bigfoot enthusiast who owns Health Haven 2, a health food store in Medford. A couple claimed to have seen a large, hairy creature leap across a road in the Brendan T. Bryan State Forest. Spinner and another BFRO investigator interviewed the couple. We found their story credible, he said. That's because a seasoned Bigfoot sleuth such as Spinner, 52, can spot red flags indicating fake Bigfoot news. When people say wild things like it was 10 feet tall or it had fangs, I know it's probably not true, he said. The couple told Spinner they were near swamplands, not far off Route 70, when the woman, who was driving, glanced in the rearview mirror. She saw this thing running and leap across the entire road, Spinner said. She said it looked like a ballerina, the way the legs were splayed. The couple, who wished to remain anonymous, stopped the car. They heard something crashing through brush followed by a splash, presumably when it, whatever it was, jumped into the swamp. And that was the encounter, Spinner said. Spinner and his BFRO colleague recreated the leaping Bigfoot, seen at the approximate location of the sighting, with the woman's husband playing the part of Bigfoot, he said. We had him try to run across the road and leap. He could barely make a quarter way across, he said. To Spinner, there is no question of the existence of Bigfoot, also called Sasquatch, the large, hairy monster-like thing said to inhabit the remote forests of North America, particularly in the Pacific Northwest. He has been interested in the creature since he was a kid on Long Island, New York, where he saw the 1975 docudrama Sasquatch, Legend of Bigfoot. For a month I didn't sleep well. I thought a hairy arm was going to come through the window and grab me. Moving to South Jersey in his teens, he never gave Bigfoot much thought. But in 2006, he stumbled across the BFRO website. His interest was rekindled. It was the same year he said he encountered the creature on a Sasquatch expedition in the Allegheny State Forest in Pennsylvania. He was camping with another researcher at a place where a Bigfoot had been thermed, that is, detected on a thermal sensor. In the early hours of the morning, he heard something approach his tent. It crouches down, I can hear it breathing, and the next thing I know, there's a hand pressing on the fabric of my tent. Not a bear. A bear has claws. And it would have cut my tent. My heart was pounding. A vehicle approached, and the thing took off through the camp, leaping over a fire ring and vanishing into the brush. I can hear it crashing into the woods, he said. 3 years later, he encountered more Bigfoots in British Columbia. We had activity every night, he said. Since then, he has conducted his own research, leading expeditions throughout New Jersey, recording screams, tree structures, rock clacking, and tree knocking, all said to be telltale signs that Bigfoot is near. I probably have more boots on the ground experience investigating Bigfoot than most people on the eastern side of the United States, he said. In his shop, he displays a plaster cast of a Bigfoot, which he believes is from a Bigfoot he found on the bank of the Militia River near Chatsworth. Bigfoot's a flesh and blood creature, Spinner said. I believe it's a primate. I think they're a hominid, probably a blend of ape and man. He, like his fellow enthusiasts, believes the Bigfoot giganto theory, which states that Bigfoot is a remnant of another age. It may be related to Gigantopithecus, a large ape that crossed the Bering Land Bridge into North America 10,000 years ago and has been hiding out ever since, including in New Jersey. Since the early 1950s, there have been 69 reported Bigfoot sightings in New Jersey, 13 of them in Bergen County, according to the BFRO website. The earliest case is from a woman who recalled encountering Bigfoot as a child while on a Girl Scout camping trip near Chatsworth in 1952 or 53. Other sightings were reported in Medford in March of 2010, in Crosswicks in the fall of 2003, off the Garden State Parkway in New Gretna in 1998, and near the Wading Pines campground in Chatsworth in May of 2013. The Pine Barrens offer everything they need: food, water, cover, he said. Probably you have nothing to fear from Bigfoot. There has never been a report of a Sasquatch eating a human being. They really don't want to antagonize us, he said. They're shy. In the pines, with every breath you take and every move you make, Bigfoot will be squatching you. That's the end of the article. So tell me, do you think Bigfoot is roaming the Pine Barrens of New Jersey? Or do you think it's just a misidentification of some other animal? And what about the Jersey Devil? Are they really there? I'll be doing a video on the devil later on. So don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button down below to keep up with all of our latest videos. Thanks for watching those endless mysteries. Till next time, take care.